Thank you for joining us on Data Cloud Now, where we bring you the latest in all things data in business and industry. I'm now joined by Gerard, Head of Fusion at JPMC. Great to have you on the program today.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
For the audience watching, Gerard, who are unfamiliar with JPM Fusion, can you kindly walk us through the solution?
Sure. So Fusion by JP Morgan is really a managed data service designed to suit the needs of the institutional investors, such as asset managers and asset owners. Across the board, institutional investors are looking to leverage data and analytics to both reduce cost and improve returns. The challenge most of them face is not the technology, because technologies like Snowflake are great. There's so much new AI analytical tools out there that people can use. But what slows everybody down is really the data. The data is either dirty, it's proprietary to the organization, it's less understood, sometimes poorly structured, and then very often people just need an army of folk to get involved, clean it all up. So what we're really doing with Fusion is trying to solve the complete data problem and really eliminate data as a roadblock. And we really do this by giving institutional investors access to clean data across all sources and across all domains, direct into their tech stack. So really by using this, folk can accelerate their projects and deliver their business outcomes in days and weeks, not months and years, which is super exciting.
Great to hear. Thank you so much for the background. Exciting news coming out from the Fusion team today. Can you share more about today's announcement and how does Snowflake play a part in it?
Sure, happy to. Yeah, so in our business, we're part of security services as part of JP Morgan. We offer custody, fund administration, middle office services to our clients. We have over 33 trillion assets under custody. And as part of that, our clients need to receive their transaction and position data. Today, we're really announcing how clients can maximize the value out of their transaction and position data by receiving data through the security services data mesh and really being able to integrate it directly into Python notebooks, APIs, SDKs, and especially Snowflake. And a lot of our clients are using Snowflake, so it just makes it much easier for them to get at the data.
Exciting next chapter. How is Fusion allowing ease of use for your customers, and what are the key takeaways?
Yeah, so what I would really say that if you look at the data analytics journey, Snowflake really does a great job at the beginning and at the end. It's great in bringing the data into the organization, and once the tables are finalized, it's great in people using analytics and BI data on top of that. What's really hard is the stuff in the middle, where you don't just need the technologist, you need the domain experts, the analysts, the data wranglers on different domains to really work together. And that's really where Fusion steps in. We have all the experts with us. We take care of all that middle stuff for our clients. So a technologist just goes into Fusion, very quickly configures this perfectly laid out physical table of data. They can have their opinions, their overrides, etc. And the data flows straight through inside the system. Like one great example is the ESG data. ESG data is highly complex, very, very hard to manage. And now we've come out with this really great solution where we not just connect with the vendors and institutions and bring the data in, we allow our clients to express their opinions on top. They can change the hierarchies, they can apply overrides, they can decide propagation rules, they can set up their own calculation criteria, screening criteria, and then Fusion just runs around the clock processing data, giving them clean data, and with that it immediately unlocks all of the analytics in the data lakes and warehouses so they get immediate benefit.
Great to hear. I want to take a step back for a moment. Top of mind for most right now is Gen AI and LLMs. As it relates to the financial services industry, what impact do you see this technology having across the board?
Yeah, I think Gen AI is obviously very exciting. I think one of the key things it's done for the industry is make AI real, and people suddenly realize the potential of AI, and everybody's kicking the tires on what they can do with Gen AI, what they can do with other types of AI and machine learning. I think the big problems it kind of goes after initially are human in the loop kind of problems. Is whether it's getting more efficient in writing code and getting more productivity out of a developer, where the harder stuff they can get the code and then they kind of edit it and make it go faster. It's good for Q&A types of problems where people really want questions answered, again, human in the loop type of things. I think they still have challenges with hallucinations and other types of challenges. But as people kind of feel their way through this whole area is going to get better. And Gen AI will certainly be incredibly useful in a whole range of problems. But I do see a lot of other models coming about that's going to just make data and analytics a lot more usable and useful to the financial industry.
Great to have your perspective on the financial services industry. Now let's focus on the securities industry. How does data become a central component for companies, and what advice would you give to the executives watching here today?
Well, I think in fact, today's keynote address, Frank mentioned this. You can't have AI and analytics unless you have good data. So ultimately, data is the foundation, and the more people really go down this journey, the more they realize the importance of data. What is really hard and very hard for executives to comprehend is the level of difficulty of financial data. Financial data is not just vast, and it's not just large, but there's a lot of minutiae to it, and there's a lot of modeling and differences in the nature of the data that far exceeds any other industry. So I think the first thing people really need to do is to get their heads around that this is not a quick fix, it's not an easy problem. You've really got to double down and get your data fixed to realize the benefit. And the second thing people realize, and most of them I think do, is talent. Because you need people who are really experts in lots of different areas in order to make this work. And that's really why when we set up Fusion, we really focused a lot on the talent we got to help build a solution, because we knew the domain was difficult. We wanted people who'd made mistakes in the past, because that's how you go off and really build something cool and new and that works.
That's well. The progression.
That's right. And so I think data is important. No data, no analytics. And you got to get the talent right, because the financial data is especially difficult.
You know, I'm so glad you mentioned the keynote. The buzz, the excitement is all around us here at Data Cloud World Tour in London. What are you hearing from executives, and what excites you most about this next chapter for JPM Fusion?
Yeah, no, I think what is really striking, that if you look at Snowflake's messaging at the event and look at the topics people are talking about, it's about the data, right? People realize you got to really get the data fixed. And I think once the realization happens, then the investment follows and people go down that journey. So I think now that people are serious about data, it's actually going to begin to create a competitive advantage. The organizations that get the data sorted quicker are probably going to go further and faster. So for me personally, given the space that we play in and how Fusion by JP Morgan can help accelerate institutional investors' ability to adopt, clean, normalize, model, link, and take data into their system, I think that's really going to be a key for the future. So I'm super excited about it.
Well, Gerard, such a pleasure having you on Data Cloud Now. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And for the audience watching, I'm Ryan Green with Data Cloud Now. I'll see you soon.